Wow, you guys and girls look really wonderful out there, and we're looking forward to an exciting conference this week. We just wanted to go over, reiterate a few minor things that we talked about on the conference call to make sure that it's very explicitly clear. And first of all, respect. Be respectful of each other. Watch your behavior. Just remember that some of those people that are sitting in the audience there are CompTO members. They're watching you and they're watching us and they're judging you. So make sure that you conduct yourself in an appropriate manner, professional, no harassment of any sort, and so be respectful of each other. Be professional. Always act with integrity. Be honest and be timely as possible. One of the key things in transportation is what? Does anybody know what the answer to that question is? It starts with a T. I just said it. Timely, right. Because obviously if we as transportation providers are not on time, then our constituency will not trust us. They will not be able to rely on us. So it's very, very important to be timely. And last but not least is zero tolerance. We have zero tolerance for the use or participation in any. Can anybody tell me what those two things that we talked about are? Pardon me? I heard it. Drugs and alcohol. So during the conference, at no time, at any time, should you be involved in any of those substances. If you're caught, we have a zero tolerance program. We'll certainly hear you out in terms of the details, but at the end of the day, if you're caught, you will be dismissed. You will be sent home at your expense in terms of changing of your ticket costs, et cetera. So don't even try it. It's not worth it. So just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. Are there any questions on those topics? Great. And my key statement is do your best to be your best. And I think you have a very exciting, wonderful, great experience this few days during the conference here.
One, I want to welcome you to our national conference. I want to congratulate each and every one of you who are part of this internship program. I will also charge you, okay, with keeping your mind very open, all right? And grab everything you can grab because you are at the beginning of a great opportunity for the rest of your life. I was with some individuals the other day and we were talking about young folks coming up and they always talk about looking for a job. You know, you graduate from college, I need a job. Well, let me turn that around. You don't need a job, you need a career, okay? When you start looking at life, it's no longer about a job. It's about measuring your life in gaps. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, so forth and so on, okay? And at the end of that, you want to be able to measure something, both in intelligence and in financial security. That's what life is all about. You need to gather as much intelligence as you can, but also make sure that you can live a secure life. And how do you do that? This is the beginning. You're in a position today, and through these next few days, and over these next, I guess, another 8 weeks or so that you have in this program, to gather all the information you can gather about this industry. One of the great things that I enjoy about transportation, and I'm a 30-year guy in this industry, but my background didn't start out in transportation. Okay, but my success came in transportation, is that the opportunities are vast. You know, there's only one thing directly that we don't do in transportation is food. But yes, we do that because we do highways and we do trucking and things of that nature, so we move product. But there's opportunities in any discipline that you could think of that you can find a career and a fantastic career in transportation. Let me ask a few questions. How many folks are from the northeast part of the country? Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Boston, Maryland. Okay. How about the southern part of the country? Georgia, North Carolina, Florida. Okay. Let's go middle part of the country like Illinois, Michigan, Chicago. I said Illinois, same thing, right? Okay. Indiana. Okay, let's go a little west. How about Texas? Any Texas folks here? Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, yeah. So we got a couple interns back there too. couple interns back there too. Anybody from any Westerners, California, Denver, and anything of the nature? Okay. Okay, great. Now, understand something. The tools that you will start to obtain here, you can utilize those tools anywhere in the country, anywhere in North America, anywhere in South America. How about this? Anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. You know? And that's what this thing is all about. These folks that you're going to be working with through the course of this week, and the individuals that you will be encountering, I also request of you to find out about them, find out what they do, find out how they got to where they got to, you know, because that's the same path that you want to take, you know. These two young ladies here have been around us now for a couple of years, you know. She's finishing up at Temple. She's already working at AECOM. Huh? I heard her say, oh, he remembered. Don't let the great fool you. But the point of the matter is being exposed to opportunities, being exposed to people who really want to help you. And here's the other part of it. You're going to be around people who look like you and who also have the same desire to help you and to assist you. Just a little bit about myself, my background prior to transportation, my actual degree is in criminal justice. Duh, ain't got nothing to do with transportation. Well, yes, it does, because in most large transportation systems, okay, there is a investigative force, there's a criminal justice force, there's a police force, and things of that nature. But I ended up in this because I had a fantastic president when I graduated from college who decided to freeze all the government jobs. So I had to go into social work. So I did 14 years of social work. But in social work, doing social work, part of my responsibility was to provide transportation services for seniors and people with disabilities, i.e. that entered me into the field. From that, I became a coordinator of transportation with the Area Agency on Aging, and from that, I was hired at SEPTA, Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, to, that's how I entered into the concentrated area of transportation. And from there, I moved up from dispatcher all the way up to chief operating officer, where I retired 4 years ago. Hear what I'm saying? Okay. And that's what it's all about. That's why when I was talking to you, when I said it earlier, it's not about a job. It's really not. It's about a career and a career path. And I know right now it's really time for you to start thinking about your career paths. And where are you going? How are you going to go? How are you going to navigate? And the great thing about it, you're going to have some bumps along the road, you know. It's not always going to be easy. It's not going to be smooth all the time, you know. There are going to be some push-ups and some pushbacks, some push-asides, you know. You know, but when one door shuts, another door can open, all right? When somebody says no, somebody says yes. If you knock once, don't get an answer, what do? Knock again. If that don't work, knock again, okay? And if you get an opportunity to meet with some people and they tell you, well, not right now, ask them, okay, what else do I need, okay? One of the things I used to do, even when I was at SEPTA, is when I applied for a position and I didn't get the opportunity, I would go to that hiring manager and ask them, okay, what kind of things do I have, and what things I don't have that would position me for that job? The other thing is aligning my resume up against different job postings that would help me see what's missing, because it's always about growth. It's always about moving forward. It's not about, and sometimes staying still is okay, you know, but then you want to, when you're staying still, you also want to gather and salvage information and make sure that you're getting all the things you need to get to be successful. So I would hope that through the course of these next several days that you all take this time to meet people, that you take this time to get business cards, that you learn about this industry, you do all that you can to walk away from this 10 weeks, I think it's still 10 weeks, right? 10 weeks better than you entered. When I mean better, with more information, but also with more questions about what you can do in your career. So I'll take a minute to answer any questions that you all have, and then I'll get out of the way, if that's okay. Anyway, any questions for me? Oh, everybody's shy, okay. No questions, huh? Oh, y'all know everything. Okay, well, okay, got it. Okay, well, since there's no questions, I'll turn the mic back over to whomever I need to turn it over to. Oh, okay. Here's our president and CEO, and I'll bring him up. This is Mr. Brad Mims, you know.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the class of 2017. I'm very pleased to be here this morning. I am the new president and CEO of Compto National, and you don't know what a thrill that is for me. But it took a culmination of a number of efforts over 40 or about 40 years to get to this place in my life. And this is a place where I want to be in my life. And I want to talk about a couple things, and the things that Warren just relayed to you. At this particular point in your life, I hope most of you, if not all of you, have figured out a path that you want to take, that path that's in your heart that you want to take to become what you want to be in life, what you perceive that you want to be in life. In that process, you don't stop at where you're looking to go, okay? I want you, if you see something that's going to take you a step further than where you want to go and what you plan to be, take that step. But make sure that you work to plan your path. I was lucky enough when I was a young man, when I was 17 years old. I went to Eastern High School in Washington, D.C. How many of you are here from the Washington, D.C. area? I know Dante's here. I know you guys are here. My buddy Paul there, somebody I've known for 33 years, has been with me and been part of my life for 33 years. And he's seen my life progression. I just want to tell you what a lucky person I have been. I was in high school, I was cutting class, walking down the hall like I owned everything when I was a senior in high school, and my guidance counselor caught me. And she pulled me into her office and she says, you know, I have a job opportunity for you. And I was like, what? Okay. She says, you like social studies, politics, Capitol Hill stuff? And I said, yes, that's what I really want to do. Well, lo and behold, I was able to land this, I guess, messenger job, office help person at the U.S. Department of Transportation in their Office of Congressional Affairs, their Office of Government Affairs. And when I got to that office, to my amazement, every single person in that office took me under their wing and helped me in some way plot my career path. Guys would pull me in, and again, you have to never judge people on what you see. You always have to take the time to introduce yourself, inquire, talk to people about what they've done, what their life interests have been, their career paths have been, because those people are going to be part of your path as you go forward. So this guy or this group of people made sure that during the time that I was in college that I had an internship the entire time that I was in college. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, that's absolutely perfect. Going from there, I went to work on Capitol Hill. Again, someone looked out for me. I got a job before I was finished college on Capitol Hill as a member of a U.S. Senator's staff. And as I recollected on that whole thing, I did not realize that I was the first person of color to serve as a professional on this particular senator's staff. So it went from there. I spent 12 years on Capitol Hill as a staffer, but the one thing that I always did, I always handled, and when you're on Capitol Hill and working for a member of Congress or a senator, you are given the responsibility of handling special issues for them. So you could do health care, you could do Social Security, But one thing that was a constant with me as I was going forward is that I handled transportation issues. And in that whole process, as I grew older, I was able to land a job with Congressman John Lewis. Do you know, any of you know who Congressman John Lewis is? I want to see some hands. I want you to do this. I need you to take the time to research those people who have been very instrumental in making sure that you are here doing what you do today. Congressman John Lewis is an icon of the civil rights movement. And we all hear about Dr. Martin Luther King and some of the other civil rights luminaries. Mr. Lewis, Congressman Lewis, put his body on the line, and he got pretty beat up. He got hurt in a number of situations in places in the South. And he came out of it. He came out of it to be a very prominent member of Congress. As many of you may know, he took on Donald Trump after the election. I won't get into all of that. He still is taking on the president on various issues. But I served as Mr. Lewis's first legislative director in 1987, and that was a thrill of my lifetime because I got to meet all of the civil rights luminaries from the civil rights movement and was able to hear and see the things that they went through. And again, those things that they went through would make your hair stand up on edge on your heads. But as I went forward, I was lucky enough from there to land a job at the Smithsonian. I was a lobbyist. So how many of you know what a lobbyist is? Tell me what a lobbyist is. Okay. You work to influence members of Congress or other legislatures or wherever you happen to go or wherever you happen to want to be. You take positions and you deal with making sure that that point of view is learned and heard by members of Congress or those that you're wishing to influence. So I was lucky enough to land at the Smithsonian Institution. I was a lobbyist for the National Air and Space Museum. How many of you have heard of or been to the Air and Space Museum in Washington? So I was able to do that. Became an aviation person, love aviation. From there, as a result of the work that I did there, I was able to land when Bill Clinton became president. I was able to land as a member of his administration, serving at the U.S. Department of Transportation, and the office that I happened to be an intern in, I was now running that office, okay? So as you go, as Warren said, keep talking, keep engaging people to make sure that you learn as much as you possibly can from those people. Move further. Went on to work for Secretary Rodney Slater. And many of you will see Secretary Slater and the former Secretaries of Transportation at the luncheon, the legislative luncheon on Monday. And Mr. Slater has a story in himself that it is totally fantastic, and you'll probably hear some of that. Went to work for Mr. Slater, and I became the Department of Transportation's ambassador to the rest of the world in promoting transportation and promoting the transportation industry in the United States. What a wonderful and fantastic opportunity that was. Went on to work in the private sector for Booz Allen Hamilton. Went to work for Parsons Brinckerhoff. Some of you, hey, there's Tanya back there. And that's where I met my friend Tanya Adams back there when I went to work for Parsons Brinckerhoff. Had a fantastic career as the head of aviation markets there. Went to the private sector and went out on my own and did some consulting. And then as things went on, this position came, and I felt that I was ripe for the position, and went to my board colleagues and presented myself, and here I am today. And I am, again, very, very pleased and very honored to serve in this particular capacity. I think as I'm going along here, one of the favorite things, or one of my favorite things in this whole thing, is dealing with students like yourselves. And it just thrills me to be able to work with the staff here. I know Brandy and the committee is doing a fantastic job in making sure that you have a great program, that you're steered in the right direction. And again, as you're going forward, you don't realize, so I want to tell you, again, as Warren has already outlined to you, stop people, I don't care who they are, stop people and ask them who they are and what they do. And you dealing with your careers and steering yourselves in particular directions, if that person can't help you, ask them who might be able to help you. If there's a resource amongst his or her orbit that could refer you to something that you may be interested in doing. Don't be a wallflower. Don't be hesitant. Stand up, hold your head up, and ask what you might be willing to do. So, see those folks back there? All of those folks back here at the table, that's what they've done, okay? And that's where I envision you guys being in the next 15, 20 years. As part of the Compto organization, as part of the Compto board, as part of the Compto entity of presidents. I want to see you there. I want to see you as part of that. And in that process, bring your friends, because you never know, again, what may envelop you in the years to come. So with that, I'll stop. Maxine?
So Asia and Chanel are a great example of that, because Asia went through the program first, and she found it to be of such value that she turned around and told her friend, and now her friend is positioned to have a great career. So hopefully all of you will have a similar experience where it's worth sharing and worth allowing your communities to know what's going on, and urge them to look at a career in transportation. You know, a lot of times it's been said this transportation is not sexy, right? And so we don't look at this particular industry, but there, like Warren had said, there are so many different opportunities here that you can certainly find a place, and your friends can too. So next I want to bring up another special guest, this time a woman, a very special woman in the transportation industry. And her name is Diana Mendoza, and she is a Compto board member, as well as the, well, she'll let you know about who she is.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Diana Mendoza. I'm part of the Compto National Board, and I am so energized and so excited to see you here this morning. I know you're tired. Everybody's tired. I hear it every day. I have an 18-year-old granddaughter who's starting her college career at Seton Hall University in a couple of weeks. She's my volleyball player, and she's 5'3". She's a libero. So I'm excited that you all are so involved in this program. I guess what I want to share with you, because I'm standing between you and the food, and I know how that goes. Somebody once told me, be brief, be good, and leave. So there you go. So I serve as the Vice President of the Office of Diversity and Federal Compliance, and I'm the DBE officer for Via Metropolitan Transit in San Antonio, Texas. So I'm one of those Texans that raise their hand. In that capacity, what I want you to know is just that it never started out to be that. I, by trade, am a biology chemistry major. I have a PhD in curriculum and instruction, and with an emphasis on bilingual education. I had a great passion for young people, particularly youngsters, in grades K through 3. My whole dissertation was about how do you take the Spanish language and when do you know you need to transition a child that speaks like that when they first get to school into the English language. So it was a combination of things. I ended up, just as Brad said, being mentored by some incredible people, a woman by the name of Ann Richards, who saw me in Laredo, who thought this young Hispanic woman might have a shot, and she made me the head of tourism for the state of Texas. I was 32 years old, probably unheard of, first Hispanic woman to ever serve in that capacity, very young. I was coming out of a Chamber of Commerce position, development and fundraising in Laredo. So your goals become extremely important. All I knew when I started out, I had 3 things. I wanted a PhD by the time I was 35. I wanted to serve in a capacity for a state agency, and I wanted to be involved in Washington in some capacity. And this organization has met my last goal. So I think for you, what I would say to you is you're at the tipping point. You're at that crossroads where you choose your future. And it isn't about today. It's about all the people you will meet along the way who will help you do that. So what Warren's telling you and Brad's telling you and Brandy and everybody's told you is that it's about connecting with people. Some of my incredible best friends are sitting right there. I'm Hispanic. They're African American. Yet they have been a family to me for over the last, how many years? I'm on my 2nd term? 8th term? I don't know. How many years? Too many years. You have a Michelle Howard, who I think is one of the brilliant minds in strategic planning. You have a Tanya Adams with WSP, who you better get to know because she's got a lot of money. And so you've got all these people. Brad used to do The View on the Hill when we would go up to Washington and meet with legislators on what we wanted to do for this organization and others. And so it is about connectivity. That's my message to you. It's about connecting. Connect with people. Believe that they will help you because they will. I'm in this position because of a former CEO of this organization by the name of Julie Cunningham, because of a woman by the name of Shirley DeLibero, who I will love for all my life, who is one of the, we call her the Queen of Transit, that says it all. She has served in so many capacities. Those people, you know, people that aren't in the room right now, Renee Edwards, Freddie Fuller, you know, I could go down the line for all the people that have made that difference for me. The staff who keep me in line because I forget meetings. And so you're supposed to be online right now, Dee. And so a lot of it is that connectivity and that passion. Find in your heart something that just is killer. Something you want to do. Develop a self-discipline for it. Set a target for it. Think that you can do anything because you can. My father used to tell me, you know, you're going to be the best at whatever you choose to do. And I used to say, how do you know that? Because nobody's ever done it like you before. Keep that in mind. That has been a great force for me. Ground in your faith, because as Warren told you, there will be people who push you, there will be people that move you, and there will be people who want to take you down. And that's okay. Life is a journey, and it's the journey that matters. So I just want you to get so excited. Enjoy today. Kim tells me you have a great program. You're going to get to see some things at Toyota nobody's ever seen. So I think that's an incredible opportunity. So the opportunity to know each other, the opportunity to get to know us is beyond what I can tell you. I'm so grateful to Compton for everything they've done for me. I'm grateful to the woman who started this journey for me. And I'm grateful to all the people along the way who were there for me. And so from that perspective, I think you're going to probably get to eat.
Actually, we have 2 minutes before we get you guys some food, and I want to bring up one more person. Throughout the conference, we have some people who are extremely busy, and so when they get an opportunity to come in and sit in with us, we want to make sure that you all get some nuggets from them. And so I'm going to ask a friend and a colleague of mine by the name of Clinton Forbes, who is also a board member, to come up and share his experience with Compto. This gentleman is a mover and a shaker. Gentlemen, take note of how he's dressed, because he will be sharp the whole conference. And so just want him to share really quickly about his progression, how Compto has helped, and any other words of encouragement. And he's got like the thickest beard here.
Why'd you do this to me? But you got to be ready all the time. Good morning. My name is Clinton Forbes. I'm on the board of directors as an at-large member. I've been a member of Compto probably nearly 15 years. Just a little bit about me. I've lived in different communities. I started in Miami-Dade, was a member of Compto there. In Jacksonville, was a member there. Columbus, Ohio, was a member there. And started a chapter in Columbus. And in Palm Beach County, where we just started a chapter, am a member there, and now I'm on the national board. And so it is been a part of my life and a part of my career. Professionally, I'm the CEO for the PalmTran, the public transportation system for Palm Beach County. And that was a journey. So get ready to go on a journey. But you gotta want it. You gotta be hungry. I don't want to be negative, but I'm gonna be a little negative. All of you are not gonna make it. Don't be one of those people who don't make it. Don't be one of the people who don't make it. Be hungry for it. Make your presence known. And Dee said something that's incredibly important, because you cannot do this journey alone. Every time I had an opportunity for advancement in my career, I called Compto. How can you help me? And Compto wrote letters for me. Julie picked up the phone and called for me, and that helped. Okay, but what Dee said was engagement. People engagement, incredibly important to establish relationships with the right people and nurture those relationships and stay on top of that. So it's a journey, and it's not going to always be easy. But if you have tenacity, if you have stick-to-itiveness, you will get there. Trust me, you will get there. Just a little on the beginning of my journey, I grew up in Miami-Dade. I started my transportation career out of college in what is called the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the transportation planning arm in most communities. And, kind of a transportation planner. Very young, I was my early 20s, late 20s, and got an opportunity because this is important too, how you look and how you carry yourself. I never spoke to the transit CEO there, which is the largest transit property in Florida, Miami-Dade Transit. Never spoke with him, but he noticed me because I'd always carry myself well. I'd always speak. I would always say good morning, good afternoon. Those things matter. With my staff and my organization, my leadership team, I have what is called the customer service guarantee. That means that you cannot walk by a staff person or anyone in our organization without saying good morning and good afternoon. Really? Yeah, it's required. Engagement is important. So this CEO noticed me, and he was building his team, and I was a young guy, and he said, I want something new. So he met with me. He said, I want to bring you on my team as the chief of staff. This was my first opportunity. And I was like, wow. That's huge. 4,000 employee organization, $400 million budget. I'll be sort of second in command. Wow, I was kind of feeling myself a little, right? So he hires me. He says, your first day is this day. So I'm dressed to the nine. I put on my best suit. There's 9th floor is the executive level. I walk in, I'm kind of feeling myself. So I walk by all the executive offices. My office sits next to his. It has a glass window. I see my name, Clinton Forbes. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I'm like, 30 or something like that, right? I walk in his office, and I'm excited, pumped up. I said, I'm ready to report. I'm ready to move something, right? He's sitting at his desk. Just to characterize his personality, he is a operations person that was brought up from the operations and ascended to the CEO-ship. And he's sitting at his desk with a stern look on his face. And he's looking at me, and he's like, okay. And I said, I am ready to go. What do you want me to do? He said, well, your office is not here. I said, what do you mean my office? I just passed by his office. It has my name on it, Clinton Forbes, and a glass window. And he said, no, your office is not here. I said, what do you mean? He said, before you start your role as a chief of staff, you have to first do a stint in bus operations for 6 months. You have to go to maintenance. You have to go to planning, then do something in transit operations and dispatch. And then after a year of doing that, you can take your seat as chief of staff. I said, wait, I felt bamboozled. I said, wait a minute. No. You hired me to be the chief of staff. That's administrative. I've always been an administrator and an MPO. I wear suits. I wasn't getting hired for that. He looked at me without a laugh. He said, do you want the job? I said, yeah, of course I want the job. He said, you have to go and do that rotation first. And that was a pivotal moment in my career. Pivotal. Because I connected with the people who actually make the buses move. I understood the operations, and I can never lose that now. And I eventually took my seat at the chief of staff, and my career began to soar after that. So be willing to learn. What's it? Be humble, sit down. Yeah, I know a little something about that now. Kendrick Lamar, right? Be humble, sit down. And embrace yourself and connect yourself with people. It's important. Thank you.
All right. Well, he talked about being hungry, and I know you are in more than one way. And so without further ado, is there anything else that we need to do, Brandy? No? Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and allow you all to grab some food. Keep in mind that networking, mentoring, all those things that we touched on during our calls, this is the time to start it. If you saw somebody or heard someone this morning that you want to get connected with, you want to know, get your business cards out, make that connection, especially before they leave. The food will be there, but the opportunity probably won't be. So make sure you do that. Oh, and Brandy reminds us to make sure that we spread out and make some connections. Some of these folks will be having breakfast with us, so they will probably join in and want to learn more about you and what you do and what you're aspiring to. So without further ado, for those of us who pray, let us bless the food really quickly. Father, we just want to thank you for this time of fellowship and this wonderful conference, this opportunity for our young people. We ask, oh God, that you would bless every day, every young person here, every mentor, every potential mentor, every speech, every workshop. God, we ask that you would just be in this place and move amongst your people, allow them to glean and learn as much as they possibly can and really benefit from this opportunity. We ask right now that you bless the food, bless the hands that have prepared it, and nourish our bodies as we eat. In Jesus' name, amen.